Welcome to an author interview with Gable Holyoak here today. And we'll just be going over a little bit of who he is as an author and some strategies that he has for new authors and new writers. So Gable, tell us a little about yourself.
All right, McKay. Well, my name is Gable Holyoak. I'm from small town Idaho, just southeast Idaho area. Don't know if you guys know it. It's called Preston. It's where Napoleon Dynamite was filmed. So if you know that movie, I'm so sorry for you. But at the same time, I really enjoy doing anything creative. I love to draw. I love to write. I love to do anything in the creative arts. Like I've done theater, I've done dance, I've done choir. I love anything that can tell a story and can convey to the soul. Because other kinds of stuff like athleticism and like architecture, those kind of things, business, those are important for our survival. But I think the arts is something that resonates deep within inside us, and it's what we need to really be alive and to express our humanity. So I love that concept, and I love doing anything I can to express my humanity. Go outside, touch grass. That's something I enjoy doing a lot.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, and so you're kind of an interesting case because you're a mixture of like an author and an artist. Which came first?
Oh, yes.
Or is it kind of a chicken or egg scenario?
The artist actually came first. I love art. I loved being able to draw and being able to. I guess I did. I always was drawing, and I did when I was a kid start writing little kid stories and drawing in those, just making little illustrations. And so I knew I wanted to do something with illustrations. So that's what I went to college for. I went to BYU Idaho for illustration. And while I was up there, I was just coming up with all these different ideas in my head for stories. And I just thought to myself, why not try taking a stab at authorship? And I could illustrate those books while I'm at it because it's a double whammy. And not many people tell you this, but people who can write and draw, they're superpower.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize that until I met other people who could do it and who had done it. I realized just how much of a superpower this was because you could convey to a reader exactly how you envision something. And it's a pretty fantastic thing to be able to do.
No,
so
it's great.
I don't want to do my own horror thing, or I don't want to sound arrogant about that, but I'm happy that I do have the ability to convey to my readers what my characters and what my world looks like.
Oh,
it bridges that gap, I think.
That's wonderful. I think it's so critical how we have people that can do this and convey stories like this. Mm-hmm. And I've read your book, well, your first one.
Yeah.
And
thank you.
It just it's fun because every couple of chapters or so, there's that illustration or something to kind of bring you more into the world, and especially since you're writing fantasy. It just
for sure.
really conveys what's going on in your head to the reader.
Mm-hmm.
And
especially since like fantastical creatures don't exist in the real world. So you have to kind of convey to the reader, well, what does that look like? I've never seen this thing in real life before, right?
Mm-hmm. I guess this kind of leads into your writing method a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like, do you draw first your world and then start writing about it? Or is it back and forth?
It's kind of a little bit of back and forth. I obviously come up with the idea first. I'll write down a few notes about that. And I immediately start trying to put it on paper. But sometimes like I'll get an idea and I'll sketch that down just to be like, well, what would this look like? And how can I best convey this in words if I don't know precisely what it looks like? So I'll make a few sketches and a few little illustrations about the thing or the place in my world. And that gives me a little bit of a clearer idea of how to write it, how to convey it. So using maps in this way is a really impressive thing, especially if you're writing in kind of urban fantasy, which is what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. As long as you have a visual marker or a visual guide, that really helps you know how to make the right descriptions and how to keep things consistent. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And drawing my character portraits also really helped because it helps me remember what color my character's eyes are and just like what shape their face is. Like those small little things really help sell the details in the book and make it feel a lot more alive, a lot more immersive.
Yeah. And we've kind of danced around this. Tell us about your book.
Oh, boy. Well, the Aurora Order is my first ever fantasy trilogy. It's basically a modern fantasy. It takes place in modern day. And the premise of it is about a corps of magicians who are divinely ordained to reunite the human and fairy worlds. So they travel between dimensions through this interdimensional barrier called the Shroud. And they're basically trying to reunite the human and fairy worlds, neither of which know that the other exists. Because I grew up reading stories about all these fantasy worlds, like Harry Potter and Artemis Fowl, Percy Jackson. And it was always like, oh yeah, there's this fantasy world that exists that's full of all these incredible creatures. And they know that the human world exists, but they don't do a dang thing about it. And I thought, that's really stupid. Like, why would they not? Where's the goblin human war? Like, where's all that political interconnection? Where's the tension here? So I thought to myself, if there was a hidden world that existed in our world, why wouldn't we know about it? And so my thoughts to that were, well, maybe it's because they don't know we exist either. And just like we've become, just like they've become our legends, we've become their legends, right? And we've been divided somehow, but we're trying to get back together. And so that's the premise of the Aurora Order, is this group of magicians that has that responsibility. We're trying to reunite these worlds that have fallen out of touch with each other.
Yeah, it is really kind of a fun premise. I love how you kind of tackle that question of like, why haven't they done anything with each other?
Exactly.
And that's just, I enjoyed the book. And
thank you, man.
It was really fun.
Yeah.
Now,
I love the premise of Broken Halls too, like your book. I think it's genius.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because people say ideas are cheap. Like,
oh no.
I don't feel like it's entirely just like that, because you have to be invested in your idea. Finding an idea that you're invested in, that's not necessarily a cheap idea.
No. I love how you said that too, because an idea is only worth as much as you invest in it, right? Because if it just stays in your head, it might depreciate in value. But if you're investing a lot of yourself into it, that idea, it could be incredibly valuable. So I love how you said that.
Yeah. So was this the first book you wrote, or is it the first book you published?
It is the first book I published. I've written other books, like smaller little side projects when I was in junior high, elementary school, high school. I got those out of order. What the heck? But yeah, I've always been into storytelling as a medium because I love the power of storytelling. I guess I picked that up from my grandmother, and she in turn passed it down to my mom. Just stories have been a great way to convey truths and to help us understand ourselves deeper as people. And so I loved the way storytelling spoke to souls, kind of the way the art did, which is why I started intermingling those two. And so I knew I always wanted to do something in the storytelling realm. And since I couldn't make movies because it was too expensive, I decided, well, why not write books? That way I can get an entire idea down, I can get out in the world. And better yet, people could use their imaginations and they could imagine things for themselves. And it's a very, I guess, intimate process when you write a book and share it with someone, because there comes a kind of connection between you and the reader. Because they're reading your words, they're reading your descriptions, but they in turn are imagining and envisioning your world for themselves. And I think that's something that most other types of mediums can't really do as well. Like film can't do that as well. And neither can, I guess, theater kind of does it at the same time. Like theater can require imagination, but nothing requires imagination and that kind of symbiosis between reader and author quite like a book does.
Yeah, I love how you conveyed that. And there's something really special about reading. And once you start writing, you start seeing it entirely differently. You start seeing the stories that have influenced you. And
differently, you do.
Just little details that you never would have picked up before. And what are some of your influences? You talk a lot about how you want to be a storyteller that inspires people, that wants to write these kind of stories. What were those stories that inspired you?
Oof, well, for sure, Harry Potter was among that. That's a big deal in my family. We loved that idea of making a world out of whole cloth. That the thing that J.K. Rowling did was genius, and it was inspired. I think it was very inspired. And also, as I got older, I started reading more authors like Tolkien. Tolkien is fantastic. I take some inspiration from Riordan too, just for his humor and kind of like the dynamic that he's trying to reach, the demographic. I write for young adults and teens, and I don't know, his stuff kind of targets them a lot more now. But Brandon Mole as well, huge inspiration for me. I got to meet him just recently, actually, and he's a fantastic guy. And as I've gotten older, I've started diving into more realms. Leigh Bardugo has been great. Brandon Sanderson, of course, he's like the GOAT.
Everyone talks about him nowadays.
Everyone talks about Sanderson. But there's a reason that you talk about Sanderson, because he has such a way of crafting and creating these characters that you would go to war for.
Yeah.
Basically. And that's really what drives a story, is the characterization and also his prose. And the more I read books, the more I see different kind of authors, the more I understand the power of words, the power of prose, and not just like descriptions of things or descriptions of people, but kind of words that give you an almost sensory insight into their feelings and their emotions and the way that they perceive the world. That is what really sells a story for me, I think. And Tolkien did that very well. Rowling did that very well. And so does Sanderson, And I love seeing that when you can see a world from a character's perspective and you start to unravel who they are as you're seeing it that way.
Yeah. I love that. That's great.
Thank you.
I've seen that in my own experience too, of just, there's a story for everyone. If someone doesn't like reading, they just haven't found the right book yet.
That's precisely right. Yeah. There's a story for everyone.
And kind of narrowing this down a little bit, what media are you consuming right now? And do you have a favorite piece of media that you've consumed lately?
That's very hard, because like when it comes to media, especially as an author, you start to cut down on a few things because you're more invested in writing or in scheduling out your time. But I love all different kinds of media. Film has always been a big thing for me, but finding the right movies is a big deal because there's so much slop coming out in theaters nowadays. But I love the movies from back in the 90s, back in the early 2000s, and occasionally a gold nugget will come along. But there's so many, gold mines of storytelling that exist back in the day that you can find and you can just resurface. It's just we're so conditioned to be highly stimulated nowadays, and we have such short attention spans that we don't take time to go back and see the depth and the intricacy of storytelling from those old film mediums. And that's something I really love doing, is trying to find something I maybe haven't seen before and picking apart the story of it. And normally I find the deepest stories, the most compelling stories back in the films from the 80s, from the 90s. They were just deep.
Yeah. Have you found a golden gem recently?
Ooh, recently? That's a great question. Knives Out is a great modern one. I love Knives Out. It's such a good genre-changing story. It's like, I call it a genre-jumping story because it starts off one way, then in the middle it transitions into this completely different kind of story, and then the end it wraps up and you find out it was this kind of story all along. It's just a really big action thrill ride. Well, not action, but like
mystery,
huge emotional thrill ride. Yeah. And other golden gems, Searching for Bobby Fischer is a great one.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Gosh, there's so many good ones. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. If you like fantasy or that high adventure, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is just a great way to go.
That soundtrack is so good.
Amen, brother. I'm so glad we both agree on that.
Do you write listening to music or anything?
Yes, I do write listening to music. I love finding those old grand film soundtracks. James Horner is incredible for that. So is John Williams. He's just the greatest of all time. But I love the sweeping, kind of majestic nature James Horner can give. But there's so many great pieces out there of music. I think music is my favorite medium then when it comes to that, because I don't have time to watch a lot of films anymore. But I always have time to listen to music, and that gets me in the mood for writing because it reaches down deep inside me and starts crafting things in my brain. And I guess a modern musician who does this very well, who tells stories through music, is Cody Fry. So if you haven't heard him,
Cody Fry's great.
I love Cody Fry, man.
I love Underground.
Yes. Oh, it's so good. You should hear his new album, Unlikely Mariner.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've heard it?
I have. It's so good.
It's so dang good, man.
Great inspiration for writing.
Oh, heck yes.
And talking about inspiring writers, do you have any advice for new writers?
Oof. Well, I guess my advice for new writers is don't demand perfection of yourself instantly. Just make your story exist, because you have a story in you and you want to get it out there to the world, but sometimes people are so afraid because they think they have to reach a certain level. I call this like the world builder's crisis. Because a lot of times, when you're writing fantasy, especially, you want to make it so intricate, so grand, and you get yourself caught in this kind of trap where you can't write it yet because you haven't figured out the lore of the 37 grandfathers of your character, or you haven't figured out precisely what kind of foods each culture eats, or you need to structure out their language system and figures of speech. But if you keep doing that and you keep spiraling down and down into trying to flesh out those small inconsequential details, you miss what your reader really comes for, which is the characters, which is the storytelling. Those are the meat of your story. Everything else is just like little garnishes. And, you want your reader to always say, oh, yeah, you did a great job world building. It was so great and so intricate. But really what your reader is going to remember is, did you make a good story? Did you teach me a lesson that stuck with me? Did you get me to root for your characters? Because if you can't do that, you're not really a good author. You're just someone who's messing around with trying to create a bunch of weird facts in a fictional place.
Yeah.
So I'd say don't worry so much about the world building details at first. First, find out what you want to tell your story about. Flesh out your characters, make them feel real, and make your readers want to care about them. And then you can take care of those other grand details later. But don't focus so much on like those small world building details that you miss out on the opportunity to craft a good, compelling story about humanity, about struggle, that people will really resonate with. Because they don't resonate with boring facts about history. They resonate with current struggles that people are going through right now and how that relates to them, how that helps them.
Yeah.
That's my advice.
Do you have a character you felt like you really did this with, or something in your book that really just, that was this moment for you?
Yeah. Well, my main character, for sure, I loved the arc he's going through, but I also love the arc of the mentor character, Alistair. I based him a lot on myself and my own kind of personality, my little quirks, because Alistair is not like regular mentor figures who are just these stoic, impassible, just unconquerable people. Alistair has flaws. He has little inconsistencies. He has Asperger's, and not many mentor characters have that, but I love the humanity that brings in him. And he's kind of going through a little bit of an arc right now where he is struggling personally with who he is and if he's good enough to be teaching, because he keeps making mistakes. He keeps laying things down, keeps getting distracted. And he just finds new ways to beat himself up and find the bad in himself. But he has some great friends who help him see that he really is a great guy. And I guess one thing that really is great about him is the way that he sees the world, especially in a world of fantasy. Just the small details that you focus on. It's not even like, oh yeah, there's floating islands in the sky. Alistair tones in on the small details, like the grains of wood in the barrels that the people are pushing, or the way that the wheels rotate on wagons. He hones into those little details, and it just makes the world feel a lot more immersive that way, because you're not only seeing the small details of the world, you're also getting a glimpse into who Alistair is and what's important to him, and kind of the way that he's using what we'd call quirks to navigate something that's almost mind-boggling big and narrowing it down to his perspective. And I think that's something that a lot of people could resonate with, is that we see these insurmountable challenges. We beat ourselves up too much, but a lot of times the things that we often criticize the most about ourselves could be the way that we cope with our greatest problems, and could be the way that we connect to people on a much deeper, more intimate level.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Thanks, McKay.
You gotta keep writing, Gable.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying so hard.
And kind of with that, what's coming up? What's...
All right. Well, book 3 of the Aurora Order will be out next year. Fingers crossed. It will for sure be out next year. Just what month it comes out, that may depend. Just because there's a lot. This is going to be the biggest, most emotional, and most sweeping thing I've ever written. And I feel like it needs all the time it can get. But I do want to get it done by next year. So that's where I'm going for there. And after that, I have other stories in mind that I'm going to write. I have some really great ideas, and I've outlined some really good stuff. So I'm going to keep that going. I'm also working on a story right now that's going to be published, hopefully year after book 3 comes out. We're just going to keep going. And this year, I plan on publishing a Christmas short story, which is based in my world of the Aurora Order. So keep an eye out for that.
That sounds super fun. When you say short story, are you talking like true, like almost picture book length, or like 10,000 words, 20,000 words?
Like 20,000 words. It's like 50 pages. So
that's great.
I wouldn't so much call it a novella, but it's more of a bigger short story, you know?
Novelette. They have weird names for all of the...
I'm sure they do. I don't know those terms.
But it's all good. Yeah, that's exciting. That book 3 is going to be coming out next year.
Yep. So fingers crossed. Let's want to see it happen. Yeah.
I've only just barely started working on books that are like sequels and stuff. I'm like, wow, this adds like an entirely new dimension.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. When I wrote my second book, there was a whole new ball game, you know? So just keep it going, man.
Yeah. You can't do the same thing twice.
No, you can't. Exactly.
And so it's fun to kind of figure out how to introduce those new things. And where can people find you? Where can they find out updates about these books?
All right. Well, you can follow me on social media. I am on Instagram at Holyoak_author. But I also have a website, holyoakproductions.com. That's where you can find all my books. You can also find little updates. I have newsletters as well. So if you want to be involved in the newsletter, just send me a message on my website and I can add you to the mailing list. That's where basically I post all my major updates. So if you want to find out everything, all the nitty-gritty details, the newsletter is where to go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. And is there anything else you would like to share?
Just keep being creative, McKay. Just this world needs a lot more novelty. It needs a lot more people who are willing to tell the stories that are inside them. And we need more good stories in the world. Because if you don't tell a good story, who's going to do it for you? Nobody. Yeah. You know? Mm-hmm. So the world needs more people like you and more people like anyone who might be listening who are willing to do the work and get a story out there that can touch lives, that can really impact someone. So don't be afraid of the hard work. Don't be afraid of the editing and the nitty-gritty elbow grease work, you know, because we need to get these stories out there.
Yeah.
As stories change the world and storytellers are the progenitors of tomorrow.
Yeah. Taking that first step and just keep going. Gotta keep one day at a time. And
one day at a time.
Even if you only do a little bit each day, you get there eventually.
You do.
I mean, you write 100,000 plus word books, and you didn't write that in a day.
Oh, heck
or even a week or a month.
No.
It was just
small steps at a time.
Yep. That's great.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Gable, for doing this. And
thanks so much, McKay.
Thank you to anyone listening. And this has been an author interview with Gable Holyoak.